Hello everyone, I'm Andrew Wells. This is the third video in my vlog about my experience injuring my knee while bouldering and the recovery process I'm going through. This is mostly a video log for me to gather my thoughts, but it's also for people who have injuries, maybe similar injuries, maybe not, to ideally watch and get a sense of how they can use my experience to help them and maybe get a bit of comfort about how my experience will hopefully lead to me making a full recovery. So just a quick update on my knee. It's much better. I'm able to walk without crutches, pretty much unassisted all the time. I'm not really using the crutches at all at the moment. Able to go for sort of 15-20 minute walks without too much trouble. I am limping. It's very stiff in the morning. It can be quite painful, but I feel like the rehab is definitely strengthening it. And I'm getting to the point now where I can almost get the range of motion. It doesn't fully lengthen. It doesn't fully bend. And it certainly is going to be very weak if I angle the knee in, what we call valgus pressure. If my knee gets pushed in from the side, it's certainly not going to be holding my weight, but it's certainly also going in the right direction, which is really encouraging, especially as it's coming up to 2 weeks this Saturday since the injury. And I think a big part of the reason why it's doing well is because I saw a physiotherapist quickly. I have been making sure that I do the rehab often, making sure that I'm working my leg, icing it, doing the rehabilitation exercises, and just generally using it, not overusing it, but just pushing it in use. There's a couple of things I wanted to talk about today. One was, what training can you do when you're injured? And the other one was how the training that you do can really help with your mental state. If you're a keen athlete, or amateur athlete, or even a professional athlete, but obviously if you're an athlete, then regular exercise is going to be part of your life. It's going to be a really important part of your life. And it may be a way for you to relax when you're feeling stressed out, perhaps after work. So not having that because of an injury can be really hard. But there is the opportunity to do other parts of your body in terms of training. So if you've got a targeted limb injury, isolated limb injury, sorry to say, so for example, your elbow or your knee, perhaps a wrist that you've injured, you can almost certainly do something with another part of your body, and you might actually have the opportunity to make some concrete gains in that area, which could be really helpful. So my knee's injured, and as a climber, upper body strength is really important. Well, that means that I can do lots of weighted pull-ups, fingerboarding, bench press, that kind of thing, which I have been doing on a regular basis. If you were perhaps a rugby player who injured their elbow or shoulder, you could be doing core training, you could be doing squats, you could be doing deadlifting potentially. And that's also why it's really important to see a physio, because they'll be able to identify exactly what exercises you can and can't do. So a sport-specific physio especially will be really good for that. They'll look at what sport you do, look at exercises that are appropriate, and be able to guide you in the right direction. And also in terms of the training that you're doing, a lot of the time we neglect parts of our body. So as a climber, a lot of the time we neglect our lower legs. And certainly, you might not think that that comes into practice when you're actually doing your discipline, so actually climbing on the wall, on the rock, but jumping off and landing all the time puts a toll on your legs. So the recovery process for me will include barbell squatting at some point. And in terms of doing that, I will be able to develop stronger legs, stronger knees, and it's an opportunity for me through that rehabilitation to make myself more resilient to injury in future. So this whole experience is a way to potentially target some areas where you can make some really strong gains during that time that you're not able to do your sport, but you can make concrete improvements in other areas that could be then helpful. And through the rehabilitation, make yourself kind of more bomb-proof, really, make yourself more resilient to future injury. The other thing about training is that it will make you feel better to do those intense training sessions in other parts of your body. Will make you feel like you're active. It'll give you that release of endorphins, give you that sense that you're actually using your time and your energy, and you're not just injured, so I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to sit on the sofa and watch TV all day. But the area in which you do it can also make a big difference. If you are like me, you want to say train upper body, you go to a regular gym, let's say, or you go to a climbing center, you could do some weighted pull-ups at home, or you could go down to the climbing center and do some weighted pull-ups there. You'll see the people that you know. You'll also be able to get some support, some commiseration from them. They'll be able to talk about their own injuries. It'll normalize it somewhat. You'll be part of that community. You won't feel like you're isolated socially. And it'll really make an improvement to the way that you view your injury. It's not holding you away from your from the place that you love. You're still able to go there. If you are in a team sport, for example, there's a lot of research and a lot of articles that will talk about this online. If you're in a team sport and you get injured, encouraged to go to the team training sessions. You might not be able to do everything. You might only be able to do a very specific thing, and you might feel frustrated because you want to take part, but you will also be able to still feel like you're part of that community, still part of that team. And so it's important to not act like during the time that you're injured, you just have to go home. You can't do any of that. So I've been doing almost all my training that I can at the Climbing Works, which is my usual climbing centre, bench press, weighted pull-ups, lock-offs, fingerboarding. I can do all of those things. Well, I can't do the bench, but I can do most of those things at home. But if I can do them at the climbing centre, I will, because it's more socially, enjoyable, and also it makes me feel better, makes me still feel part of that community. And also going down there, people can say, yeah, I've injured myself as well. And you can see them, they're climbing hard. So, like they've injured themselves in the past, and you can see that they've actually come back, and people will share those experiences with you, and it will make you feel better. So my experience on this one is, one of the things that's made me feel a lot better is do plenty of training. Don't overdo it, but do plenty of training, pushing gains in other areas, or maybe even really useful areas, and developing my body to make it more resistant to injury, but also making sure that I'm still part of that community. And that has been really helpful for me. So I've got another physio session tomorrow morning. Hopefully it's just going to be saying that things are going in the right direction, and we'll move from there. But at the moment, it's going positively, and hopefully next time I do a vlog for you guys, it'll be more positive news. So thanks for watching. I hope you found this useful. If you didn't find it useful, then maybe someone else will. Like I said, this is just mostly a way for me to gather my thoughts, and also maybe for someone who has an injury to get some support out of someone else's experience. So yeah, take care.